For GateWorld.net, I am David Reed, and I am here with the lovely Miss Andee Frizzell.
Yes.
It's Frizzell.
It is.
And I'm also with Darren Sumner. Andee, welcome. Thank you for coming so far.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
Are you a fan of science fiction?
Absolutely.
Really?
Yes. Yeah. So I really was so excited when I was able to even audition for the show. I was like, I love this stuff. So sci-fi is definitely my favorite. Star Trekky I am.
Star Trek?
Yes, yes.
Any other sci-fi
You know,
shows?
actually I read a lot more.
Really?
Yeah, a lot of stuff when I was younger, so
Okay.
I enjoy it very much.
Isaac Asimov, Frank Herbert?
Is it Piers Anthony? Is that the name I'm thinking of? More spidery stuff. He likes spider aliens. But yeah, Piers Anthony. I liked him a lot.
Awesome. How did you first get involved with Atlantis?
With Atlantis, through an audition.
Okay.
Yeah, I auditioned for the Wraith, and that's how I got brought on board, as it had yet been born, right?
Right.
So, yeah, it was awesome. Whole new set of characters, whole new set of ideas and stories. So, yeah, it was
Had you
awesome.
seen SG-1?
Yes. Oh,
Okay.
absolutely. I was the movie fanatic in the beginning, and then went on to watch the show for a number of years. So,
Okay.
yeah, I love the show.
What were your favorite aspects of that series?
What I loved about it was when they traveled through the gate, that you got to see so many different worlds. I think that's what's so awesome about sci-fi, is that we have this one perspective of reality, and they get to step through a gate and explore. I mean, even Star Trek, they go to these whole different worlds where they could challenge every concept that we have, right? Challenge eating, physicalities, sexual rituals, whatever it is, right?
Everything.
Everything. One of the things I enjoyed the most about the element of Stargate is the religious aspect. Like when
Yes.
they would go onto other planets or going to other worlds, is that there was a constant thread of spirituality, even though it was a different god or something was worshipped that maybe we don't have that worship here, but I really enjoyed that aspect very much so.
We were talking with Brad Wright the other day, and he said that religion wasn't supposed to be a central, it was supposed to be a feature of the show,
Yeah.
but how so many spiritual people get into the show because of the spiritual sides of it.
Absolutely. I mean, you can't, as sci-fi as we could. Hello. It's all good. Sounds like somebody had a good time. You must have been at the convention.
Sorry about that.
So good. A thing about, you can't, as much as our imagination has its limits, you can't make up an entire other religion. So even though the one thing may be featured, it's definitely part of a spirituality that we have here, say like the god Ra.
Yes.
That came from the Egyptian belief, et cetera, et cetera. So I think that people will watch the show that have whatever kind of spirituality to them, can pick, hey, that's sort of like my philosophy or my personal spirituality or something like that.
Or even not. Maybe I could learn something from that.
Or you could, absolutely. I know for myself, reading a lot of Clive Barker, even though Clive Barker isn't exactly, up there with monks, he has a lot of spirituality that he writes about. So.
Do the Wraith have a spirituality?
I think they're beginning to, which I think is really exciting. And that's what's wonderful about playing the same race, but different characters of that race. Hi, I'm somebody else. Is that you get to go on that journey with them. Because in the first episode, in the pilot, we were we were just unleashed. We were a nemesis unleashed. And you didn't know if we were going to be like the moths, like just sort of annoying pests. But as you can start to see the Wraith developing, they have a consciousness. It's based on their own, hunger or whatever, but they have a consciousness, and which I think is really exciting. And as each season starts coming up, more episodes come up, you can start seeing them develop. They're sitting across, one of the episodes that I just shot was sitting across from food. I'm having a conversation with humans, and I'm like, this is a very interesting aspect of the Wraith. We eat these things. So imagine having a conversation with an apple before you're about to eat it.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think it's really interesting that I think they do, and I think we're going to see I'm, very excited to see where they go with this character, with this whole race.
Yeah. What did the breakdown originally say about the Wraith? What was your first information about them?
The first information was more physicality, right? Just this is what we want them to look like, which is an amazing thing about being able to play a character that has yet been seen, or like the show. I mean, going on to SG-1 would also be very incredible. They've explored so many planets, but they have exhausted aliens in the sense they've had so many different kinds, which, well, they didn't exhaust them. You know what I'm saying. And in the sense, this was like a whole nother creature. So it was like, this is what we want you to sort of look like. This is what you're going to be doing. Now, go to it, right? There's nothing that you have limitation on other than your imagination, right? You can just play this race. So that was basically the most information, was very much the physicality, how we wanted them to move.
Tell us, when you first started filming for the Atlantis pilot, how does the look of your character when you're there in full makeup and costume, and the physicality of what this woman is, how does that affect your performance on the day?
There is, I mean, I am walking at 6'1" already, but as you slide into the costume and you begin to see the limitations of the like not the costume itself, but the limitations of the Wraith. Yes. Right? The Wraith have certain visual, they can see this way or that way, or they breathe, they're breathing. Mm-hmm. Everything starts to, the teeth, you start to really begin to feel what it would to have this kind of physicality, and then you adapt that, my character was the keeper. So that you begin to adapt that into, and then have this high status that comes out of it. It's really interesting to be able to play with those characteristics versus, say, playing with language as an actor, or playing with your situation. I'm a doctor, so I'm going to use the room to emphasize I'm a doctor. You have it right on your physical body that allows you to be not of this space. And I love playing within that. So I guess that would be a really long answer to your short question.
Do you find the Wraith to be beautiful?
I do.
Really?
I do. I find when I first cast for the Wraith, I had been given a beautiful hand paint. It was a painting.
James Robbins, his work.
It's beautiful, and I have it framed at home.
Really?
And he painted that prior to me being cast for it. And so as I looked at it, I didn't see my character. I saw the beauty of the Wraith as he sees them. And I'm picturing it right now as I'm talking. I find them very, very beautiful. Now, of course, there's aspects, just like humans. Humans can be beautiful and then have these aspects about them that are less beautiful.
In contrast to that, do you believe that they are evil?
No, I don't.
You don't?
No.
Really?
They're hungry. They feed. I don't believe that it's evil, and I don't play it as an evil intention. There's manipulation to get the things that I want, but this is my race. This is what I was. It's like a snake bites, and you say, is the snake bad because it bit? Well, that's what the snake does. Right. So I don't believe they're evil. I don't want to be evil. I'm not. I'm sure there's evil amongst our Wraith, for sure. But as we would have that peppered within humans as well.
Interesting. How many makeup passes were made on your face before they arrived at the product that Brad and Rob were satisfied with?
Makeup passes, one really.
Oh, so they knew what they were going to do when they put you on.
Exactly what they wanted. I mean, it since day one, it has evolved.
Yes.
That would be more, instead of using silicone, we use foam now. Foam. Yeah, it's a quite. It has just a different texture to it. It's much softer. It's more. You can move it around a bit more. They're just adapting the prosthetics to the needs. Like if you watch the show, you can see that. Am I allowed to tell the secrets?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
We no longer wear hands. We originally had very big gloves with very long extended fingers, and those have gone to the wayside now, just for the purpose that the hand, all this stuff, it can be shown. Do you know what we call that?
No. Oh, is it dirty? Probably.
It's not dirty.
The Wraith aren't evil.
They're not evil. They have a sense of humor. Yes, anyway, so it seems that it works much easier without these large gloves. We had long fingernails. So things have adapted, but the Wraith look the way that they looked in that original painting.
I'd like to go in a similar vein with that for a moment. You have very unusual rings on your fingers, and one extends, I believe. They're
the pieces that we are is like finger armor. Now, if you would imagine that as you protect the vital parts of your body, that you want to wear protective gear, like you would wear a harness over your heart or this is where we feed, this is what we use to kill. So you want to protect, with the armor. If someone severs the fingers off or cuts the wrist off, you've just lost. I mean, we have guns and we have all these other things as well, but this is really our primal, this is what we feed, this is how we take care of ourselves, especially the Queen. I've never had a gun. If you notice, in any of the episodes, I've never had a weapon. Save this. I have every one of my prisoners, that's how I threaten them, right? So we protect it with the arm.
So when the hand closes,
you have protection. You don't want to get your fingers cut off. So.
Awesome.
Am I letting out secrets?
No.
You're all like, no. We got her.
No. I mean, this is very fascinating. Tell us about the typical makeup process for you from start to finish, if you could. What time do you arrive for application initially?
Depends, of course, in the shot list, like where I'm shooting in the day. So if I'm shooting later in the day, I'm allotted to come later. But usually, I have not been there past 6 a.m. I'm usually 4:30.
Holy cow.
5 a.m., 5:30. But the prosthetics team that we have there are ever so dear to my heart. They're incredible human beings that at 4:30 in the morning we share donuts and Starbucks if they're open, and they're so fast and so efficient, and we get those masks on within, like if we're first shot in the day, we get those masks on within 2 hours, and that's fully airbrushed, wigs, costume, like it's completely ready to go in 2 hours. They're amazing.
How much input do you have on what goes on, like the color of the hair or
myself?
Shades?
None. Yeah, no. I just get to watch how the characters develop. My input comes in. This is where we're going, and you get to be you. You get to be the Wraith, and where do you want to go? So my artistic speech comes in how I differentiate the level of authority in these characters with the same stuff the same costumes. So it's not really I'm not with the artistic development of it, more the character development of it. Yeah.
The Wraith Keeper appears at the climax of the pilot episode of Atlantis, so she's very, very much foundational to this entire series and to the Wraith as a species. Take us back to the set when we're shooting these scenes with actors like Joe Flanagan and Robert Patrick. What do you remember about filming that episode?
I remember the days were very, very long. We had full prosthetics on, and we were on set for 17 to 17. I think the most one day I was there for 17 hours, and it's a new set. There was a lot of dust. I remember that. But what I remember the most is from minute 1 to hour 17, everyone was the humor, everyone keeping, right on track with everyone else. Like it's an incredible set. I love working with everyone that's there. Robert Patrick's cracking jokes, and like that's what keeps you going through the whole process of it, and then you see the product, right? Shooting, when they say action to cut, is such a small segment of what actually goes on set, right? So I remember just the camaraderie of everyone, everyone's excitement about it. You know, we were discovering a new world.
Brand
We were
new
discovering
show.
A brand new show. Like, it could go anywhere and everywhere. And the talent, the abundance of talent and all the actors that are there. It was a really feeling of excitement. A really amazing feeling of excitement, even though the hours were so very long. Yeah.
What was your original reaction to seeing yourself behind the Keeper's face?
You know, it's interesting because when I see myself play a human character, you see an aspect of yourself.
Yeah.
When you get to really completely remove yourself from visually making that bond with your character, you get to see the character. And when the feedback first came back about the Wraith, the Keeper, how scary she was, and I thought, I'm not scary, you know? Then I saw the Keeper, and she is very scary. Just that this is a whole new race. We knew nothing about them at this point, and
That's scary.
It's scary. It's scary, and because I couldn't make that connection with my physical self, it was easier in a way to see the character, to actually see the Keeper.
So a little bit of a detachment there. I'm no longer Andee, I'm the Keeper.
Absolutely. Like, you can play the Keeper and yet still recognize, or I wouldn't say the Keeper, but you could play other characters, still recognize yourself in the character, parts of, you know, physical parts of yourself. When you don't have that, you actually get to see the character, which was really interesting.